Okay, I thought I've been wanting to do these videos for a while, but I've got a big list of names and whatnot of some top fives. So these are all characters from all the codexes. Some little rules to get out of the way first for these all of these top fives is that I'm only allowing one character per codex. So although some of these ones, for example, the category of army changer, so the character who changes the army the most, I can only include one space person from the Space Marines, even though there's about 4 odd which change the army. So that's to be bear in mind. Also, I'm not counting Sisters of Battle. I'm not counting Dark Angels or Black Templars. The main reasons for those are, 1, Black Templars is about the only codex I don't own. And I think they actually have the lowest number of characters out of all the armies, of which there are 2, and they're not that great. So I'm not going to bother with them because I don't think they would even get onto the list to start with. Sorry, all Black Templar fans. Dark Angels, again, is another codex I don't own. However, they're getting a new code. They'll get their new codex in the new year, hopefully. So it sort of feels slightly cheating putting them in because I don't own the codex and they're getting a new rulebook soon. So, and the last one is Sisters, and well, that's mainly because I think they deserve a new codex. And their HQs are okay, but they're nothing fantastically good. I think the only one which would have a chance is Celestine to get into any of these. But I might make honourable mentions to some of these people as well who came close. Also, my definition of character is basically anybody who has got their own separate codex entry, and there is literally 1 in the entire 40k universe. So I'm not counting Vindicare Assassins. So Assassins, they count as unique, but they are not. I'm not counting them as characters for this top 5. Because there exists more than one Vindicare Assassin. They're rare, so you're not likely to see more than one in one place. Anyway, let's get on with it. I've got 7 different categories to get through. So the first one is the combat beasts. These are basically people who, if you end up in combat with them, expect them to either kill your warlords or HQs and whatnot, or expect them to rip through mountains and mountains of troops. So at number 5, we're going reverse ascending order. So number 5, I got Drago from the Grey Knights. The main reason being toughness 5 with a 2-up armor, 3-up invuln. He's hard enough to put down, but I think he's strength 5. He can up his strength by 1 with hammer hand. He's got a force weapon. I think he gets 5 attacks in the charge, I'm thinking. But the main fact is purely being able to attack before most other people, kill most other HQs with 1 strike. Basically being able the possibility of having strength 6 attacks. And the main fact is that an army with Drago is going to have a hell of a lot of strong units anyway as well within them. He's just going to rip through them. He had to go lowish because, well, he can kill the HQs really easily. However, you throw a whole pile of orc boys at him, it's not going to do much. So he just can't deal with the hordes. Next one, Lynith from Dark Eldar. It's fairly obviously why I put her there. 3-up invulnerable in combat, 4-up outside of combat. She's weapon skill 9, and she gains attacks equal to the difference between the highest weapon skill in the combat from the enemy. So if you throw into a unit of burner boys, well, you wouldn't do actually. You wouldn't do that actually. Let's think. You throw into a unit of 10 Marines. The difference between their attacks, the weapon skills, so she gets an extra 5 attacks on her 4, I think it is already. So she's going in with 11 attacks or something similar. Your opponent's attacks go down because of because of her barbed hair. She will just able to completely rip through. She ignores armor. She's one of the few people who ignore armor. So it's no power weapon bull. She just ignores your armor. She's really good at taking out HQs and anything like that. The problem is I had to put her so lower on the list is because she's only toughness 3. One relic blade hit will kill her. Although she's striking before them, so. And the main fact is she's only going to be strength 3, and there's no chance to improve that with combat drugs because she's about the only person who doesn't have combat drugs, which you would expect a named witch to have combat drugs. Number 3, Ghazghkull Thraka. It is fairly obvious why he's there. 2+ invuln for basically a turn is brilliant. Being your toughness 5 and immune to instant death as well, you're not going anywhere. You get 7 attacks on the charge, I think it is. Hitting. The downside is that Ghazghkull's only weapon skill 6, so he's the same weapon skill as a captain, but the sheer amount of attacks at strength 10, which strength 10 combat weapons are relatively rare. So even likes of Typhus, well, not necessarily Drago, but all those sort of high toughness things, multi-wounds, Ogryns, etc., they're going to be instant killed by them. He's just going to walk through them. Again, Ghazghkull can't deal with lots of little itty-bitty guys, but they can't do much to him in the process. And he's just going to rip through. So you charge him into unit Marines, boom, that's at least, 4 dead at the very worst. They attack back. They'll do, if they're lucky, 1 wound. They lose by 3. They're now at leadership 6. Try making that. It's going to end like that quite quickly. Number 2, Marneus Calgar. I hate putting any Ultramarine in here because if you know me, I don't like Ultramarines really, and I think even less of Marneus Calgar. In fact, I play Imperial Fists, and I want to actually use Marneus Calgar's rules for the Imperial Fist Chapter Master, who Vladimir something or other, I think it was. Post it in the comments if you can remember. But the main fact is, rerolls to hit into wound. You're hitting most things on 3s, you're wounding most things on 2s, you're rerolling both of those. You got an AP2 bolt gun. You're just going to destroy things. You're immune to instant death. His only problem is basically shooting. You pile enough firepower into him, he's going to fail armor saves. You pile enough boys into him, he's going to fail some armor saves. You pile enough ant wounds which you can always armor, he's only got a 4 up invuln. I say only, but so it's not gonna. He's a pain to deal with. I mean, anybody who's ever played against Calgar will agree with me. He is an absolute pain to deal with. You usually got to refocus how you're doing your attacks and who you're conducting them at. The last one, it should be no surprise, Khan the Betrayer. As I often say, Khan cheats. So, yeah, Khan hits on 2s, he wounds most things on 2 because he's coming in at strength 7 on the charge. He's got something like, 5 attacks standard, +1 for 2 weapons. Now you're up to 6, +1 for charging, +1 for rage. So you're coming in at 8 or 7 attacks, hitting anything on 2s because again Khan cheats, and then wounding basically everything on 2s. And it's AP2. It's basically a power axe without the unwieldy. Khan just rips through anything he comes in contact with. Yes, Khan can't take the punishment, but usually Khan's striking first, if not at the same time as other people, and will just rip through more or less anyone. Yeah, you're running the risk of him getting power fist in the face if he can't kill a tough opponent such as Lysander or something like that, but it's a risk worth taking. I think last time I used him, he ended up with 4 boons because he just walked into a unit of Chosen and just started challenging left, right and centre, and just cutting each one of them down, watching the leaderships fail and just running them down every single time. I think he got God knows how many boons. Although I think 2 of the ones he got was nothing, which is a downside. But I think he only wants like 1 wound left, and then he got a boon which said, "You restore all your wounds and get +1." My opponent was hitting their head on the desk. All that work gone to waste now, because now they got a Khan with 4 wounds instead of 3. Anyway, that was the top 5 combat beasts, and I will get back to you on the next one.